Alrighty, happy Sunday, friends. Power 5 meteorologist Allan Nosoff here in the Digital Weather Center. A lot going on, not only right now, but what we had earlier this morning, and more snow in the forecast for next week. So for any of you who missed out on Good Morning Cleveland this morning, missed out on a little sneak peek at next week's forecast, I got a little treat for you, so stick around towards the end. I'm going to show you what we could possibly expect for the end of next week. Right now, though, you can see all the blue behind me. Snow continues into this afternoon, quite a bit of it as well. So I want to hop straight into radar. We're seeing snow in a lot of areas. Now, comment section should be open. Let me know where you are, what you're seeing, if the snow is light, if it's not even sticking, if it's picking up and it is sticking. We've seen quite a bit of snow, in fact, across parts of the area overnight, as much as 4 inches. We'll get into that in just a little bit, but let's zoom on in the Power 5 radar. So one of the awesome things here, Digital Weather Center, I can just move and drag the radar with my mouse in real time. And of course, the snow belt is getting the hardest. This is pretty much what we've been seeing, what we've been forecasting over the last couple of days, that the highest totals would be in the snow belt. And I said generally 1 to 2 with the potential for more. Well, that potential is certainly verifying, and then some. I mean, look at some of this darker blue. I'm going to take a little bit of a pause to the radar, and this is what it is right now at 12:51 as you're watching with me live here on Facebook, on YouTube. Share this with your friends. Let everyone know that you get your accurate forecasts, literally hyper-local. I'm going to be zooming in on some towns and neighborhoods where I'm seeing some of the heaviest snow, and that's really near Manaway and just north of Silo toward Parkman and Auburn Corners. So basically, travel along 422 once you get east of Solon is a little rough, slow and go. I have a couple of ODOT cameras on one of my monitors here, and I am seeing decent snow falling and some sticking on the roads as well, where that snow is falling a little bit heavier. So through Bainbridge, through Maple Grove into Parkman, 422 doesn't look all too great right now, with steady, if not more moderate snow happening there right now. A little bit off to the north and east, similar idea if you do take Route 6 through Montville and Chardon. Of course, we know Chardon loves to be snow capital of the Northeast Ohio, at least here. And it's falling at a steady clip, not as intense as just here south, but things are going to pick up. I'm going to loop the radar one more time and watch this snow almost, what I like to say, make landfall. Watch this band, literally, there it is. That's a heavy burst of snow that's pushing on in. And I mentioned noon to 3 is that big target window for some of the heavier snow, and that's what we're seeing right now. So we got Linda here commenting. Let's see. Concord snowing heavy and sticking. Linda, thank you for that update. That's pretty much what we're seeing there as well with the Power 5 radar. I'm going to pause it one more time, this radar. Right now at 12:52 through Rome and Trumbull, through Windsor. So if you have any sort of plans past Thompson, into South Madison, if you're traveling along some of these roads, these secondary streets, these side streets, these smaller hilly streets, of course, it's tougher to try and plow when you have these big elevation differences. And if it's falling heavily enough, it'll kind of make it even harder for crews to be clearing some of these smaller streets out. 90 itself also not a great time. Speed limits are reduced on 90 on the east side through Lake and Ashtabula County. That was issued by ODOT a little while ago, and I think that'll remain through about sundown because the snow is not letting up anytime soon. We got another couple of hours of this steady snow, a couple of heavy pockets, and when you factor in the winds have been gusting 30, 35 miles an hour. When you combine steady snow and 35-mile-an-hour winds, your visibility goes way down, and it becomes near blizzard conditions for short bursts, but still, a couple of minutes can cause wrecks on the roads. So again, be a little careful out there on the roads. That's what it looks like there across the snow belt. How about other parts of Northeast Ohio? Because I bet if you're out toward Fremont and Sandusky, you're telling me like, wait, where's the snow? You might get one more burst of snow in the next couple of hours, but most of the snow is shifting to the east. East side, of course, we know typically gets it a little harder. No exception here when it comes to the snow and the snowfall rates we're seeing. Down toward Akron, we're starting to see a little bit more of that lake enhancement reaching down to 76, down to Barberton, down to Greene, to North Canton. And I think around 2 to 3 o'clock, we'll start to see that snow pick up in intensity a little bit more. And we can get a quick coating to a ½ an inch on top of the quick inch or so that we've already gotten overnight last night. It's speaking of which, let me actually roll the tape back here. Roll the radar back. I'm going to go back to, where is it? There it is. I'm going to go another couple hours back, though, and just wanted to show you the snow as it moved through overnight. You can see that through the 4 and the 5 o'clock hour. I mean, look at how intense some of the snow was, especially just south of Cleveland, along the 480 corridor, through eastern Cuyahoga, through southern Geauga and northern Portage County. I know Portage County definitely saw quite a bit just north of Streetsboro. And watch this, at 6:50 a.m., watch what happened. Bam, look at that. Look at that. Yeah. Isn't that crazy? Thunder snow. If you are, more than 15 or 20 miles away from this, of course, you didn't really see or hear it, but we've gotten so many comments. I mean, I've gotten like 100 and something comments on our Facebook post that I did a couple hours ago about that thunder snow. A lot of people heard it. Some people heard it and they woke up because of that. That doesn't happen very often in our neck of the woods, but it certainly did. And with this kind of a setup is even more rare in the weather books. But happened right over Kent. And people from Akron commenting, people from Cuyahoga Falls commenting, people from Ravenna commenting, all the way up to Hudson, too. A little bit farther away from that, I think, again, said that they didn't hear it. So, again, like a radius of about 10 or so miles, pretty much people heard, and quite a few people saw it, too. Actually, speaking of which, I got this awesome ODOT video from my friend Matt, who works at ODOT. Hold on, let me pull it up right now. Y'all ready for this? Not this. This is right now, by the way. This is right now, 9271 Eastern Cuyahoga County. Look at that poor visibility. I mean, that's what, half a mile at best. Roads look okay, but we've seen a spin out on the ramp from 90 to 271 a couple hours ago that actually closed the on-ramp. So it's still very slick out there, even though you're seeing blacktop. All right, the moment y'all been waiting for. I'm going to step out of the way. Look at this. Look at this. Bam. Isn't that cool? There's the thunder snow. This is 76 at State Route 43. That's one of the cameras. Wait, there's more. There's more. I'm going to let it loop a little bit. This is also 76, but a little farther south. Bam. Look at that. This, yeah, you can see the hazards on, too. It was snowing very heavily overnight. This is around 6:50 when that lightning strike hit. So that's 76. Let me go over here. Look at this one. Bam! Multiple ODOT cameras capturing the same bolt of lightning. I mean, isn't it awesome to see? This is pretty cool stuff with this lightning. So that's what it looked like. One more look. This is the first one, 76 at 43. Every single shot captured. And lightning during the winter when it's snowing appears a lot brighter because that very strong light is reflecting off all of those snowflakes. So it's like an exponential increase in how bright the lightning is, even though it's just one stroke of lightning. Pretty crazy stuff with that. All right. So quickly at the alerts, and let's see. We got a couple comments here. We got Dino, got about an inch here in Akron right now. So that's from the overnight stuff. Then you got probably another 1/10 or so far today with a little bit of that lake enhancement. And you could get another 1/2 inch or so later this afternoon, around 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon with that little extra push of snow that's currently over the snow belt. Now, areas, let's see. Michelle tuning on in. Michelle says windy and cold in Wickliffe. Yeah. Was thinking about going to the boat show. Well, listen, main highways seem to be okay as long as you take it slow and use extra caution, defensive driving, all that jazz. I think you'll be okay unless you do live in Lake Geauga, Ashtabula, where that snow is a little heavy for my liking for fully safe travel. So that's what it looks like there. And speaking of those alerts, Lake Erie, Lake Geauga, Ashtabula counties, these 3 counties are under that winter weather advisory. That goes through 7 p.m. Some areas have seen over 3 inches of snow, and you add on another 2 or 3 inches, you can get 5, maybe even 6 inches of snow later on this afternoon and evening. Let me actually quickly find my graphic with the snow totals. These are old totals, by the way. I haven't seen an update yet. This is from 8 a.m., but shows you the idea how much snow has fallen. And this pretty much lines up so far. So let's see here. So Solon 4 inches, Brecksville a little under 4, Brunswick as well about 3.5, 2.5 Pepper Pike, and I measured out toward Edgewater on my way in about just a little under 2 inches. So we're probably at 2 inches even at the lakefront. But the farther west you go, the less snow you have. The farther east you go and a little inland into the primary snow belt, a little bit more. So I'd assume you probably have about 4.5, 5 inches of snow in those parts of northern Portage, southern Geauga County right now. Let's see here. Christy commenting, we just drove from downtown to Akron. 271, not great. 77 and 480 are okay. So it's very hit and miss. I mean, wherever the ODOT crews just passed, roads would be fine, but then the snow just comes in heavily enough that it kind of undoes the work that the ODOT does. So it's kind of hard to keep up when those snowfall rates are a little heavier like it is on 271. Christy says, go Bills. As a lot of Browns fans here in Northeast Ohio, I don't know how we feel about that one, so I'm going to hide that comment. All right. Let's see. Michelle's joking along. So, of course, much appreciated. And this is what I'm here for, to help keep you guys updated and safe and all that stuff. Buy that yacht for me. I mean, I know Caitlin was also out at the IX Center. Lots of things to do here across the Cleveland area, across Northeast Ohio. Just make sure if you are on the west side, not that much to complain about road conditions wise. On the east side, just use extra caution out there, friends. I'm going to go back to my regularly scheduled programming here. I mentioned, of course, the combination of the snow and the wind. Here's the wind right now. And look at Menor. Menor right now, 36 mile an hour gusts. Ravenna, 31 mile an hour gusts. Down toward Worcester, Millersburg, about 30 mile an hour gusts there as well. So when you factor that in, plus the fact that it's snowing, blowing and drifting, certainly a possibility as well. And it feels frigid. Remember Friday? Remember when it was 64 degrees? That's a thing of the past. We're not going to get 60 anytime soon. I don't know if I'm bold enough to place a bet. There's probably like prop bets out there, or like, will we ever hit 60 degrees in January? I don't think we're going to hit 60 degrees anymore for the rest of the month. We might not even hit 50. 40, maybe. We're going to hit it, of course, on Tuesday, but then afterwards, maybe not, honestly. But right now, it feels like what? Teens, 12, 14 in Akron, 15, Canton, Millersburg, 15, Elyria, 15. It's cold. It's very cold out there. So even if it's not actively snowing, it actively feels like winter. It feels every bit like January across Northeast Ohio. So where do we go from here? Let's see here. Some funny comments there on Facebook. Anyways, here's Futurecast. Futurecast honestly has done a terrible job. It has been playing catch up the last couple of days. It barely showed last night's snow. When I was showing you the Futurecast yesterday morning for this morning, I said isolated on Futurecast, but I wouldn't be surprised if there are a couple of heavier bursts. We got one big heavy burst around 5 to 6 in the morning that dropped a couple of those inches of snow. So this is in the next hour, and it does have the west side filling back in with a little bit of lake enhancement. There will probably be a squall or two. It's isolated. Where that squall persists, visibility will be bad. It will be rough on the roads. But my bigger focus is going to be east side, as this eventually does pull inland. So not only primary snowbelt, but secondary snowbelt into Portage and Summit. We'll get it around 3 o'clock. That's why I mentioned Akron, 2, 3, 4 o'clock. 3 o'clock, it will eventually get to you with some steady, possibly a burst, 10, 15 minutes of heavy snow. Blink and you'll miss it. It's very quick. It's very fast. It gets out of the way by sunset. And of course, the National Weather Service does give a couple of hours of pad for these alerts. So that winter weather advisory, most of that action will be fading away by the time we get to sunset around 5 o'clock. And then look at this. The rest of the overnight, it's not bad at all. A little bit of a sneak peek here. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. That's a little bit of a preview for next week that I'll get to in a moment. But a couple of quick looks at the ODOT cameras. This is 90 and 271. Again, it is starting to see a little bit more of these streaks of that snow, that slush. That is slick stuff, so be extra careful about that. And then here, similar idea. This is, let me see, double check where this is. Boom, 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 boom. Let me just move this just briefly so I can grab the, Yeah. So, alrighty. So that's what the road conditions generally look like. They don't look all too great. That's why the winter weather advisory, again, that'll continue through about 7 o'clock. Let's see. No, I'm not sponsoring any flights to Hawaii as much as we may love the warm weather and the beautiful weather in Hawaii. No, we're stuck in snowy Northeast Ohio for the foreseeable futures. Let's see here. All right. Now, this is something that I wanted to explain a little bit, because you might have started to hear buzz about later in the week about the potential for potentially big snow, even here across Northeast Ohio. So I wanted to explain a couple of things because this is pretty important stuff. So when we talk about jet stream, did you know that there's actually two kinds of jet streams? This is the polar jet stream. This is basically the northern jet stream. So there's a northern and a southern jet stream. This one is the cold one. This is the polar one. Of course, when you think of polar, you think of cold. This jet stream is generally responsible for bringing in cold air from Arctic Canada, from Siberia, from different very cold places across areas near the Arctic Circle, down to the northern part of the United States, and sometimes all the way down to the southern parts of the United States. It depends on the second jet stream, the subtropical jet stream. And as the name implies, there's a tropical connection to it. This usually lives a little bit farther to the south, but under some circumstances, this jet stream can go up a little bit. This jet stream is responsible for moisture, for all of the moisture that we get in some of our storms when the weather gets warmer. How does that happen? Well, take a look at this. I'm going to show you one of our computer models for later this week. These two jet streams typically have storms that travel along them from west to east on both the polar and the subtropical. Sometimes we just get a storm from this jet stream. Sometimes we get a storm from just this jet stream. But sometimes these two storms can combine. So watch this. This is one of our computer models. This is for next Wednesday. So this is 3 days from now. I'm going to take off the blue line and the green line, but you know that this is the polar jet stream. This is the subtropical jet stream. Bam. There's the northern storm. There's the storm from the polar jet stream. There's your storm from the subtropical jet stream. This is Wednesday morning. There are two storms that are likely. Watch what happens heading into Thursday. They continue moving, but separately. Now watch what happens early Thursday into Friday. Watch this. They combine like that. That is known as a phase. When two storms come together, combine into one big storm. This is now looking likelier and likelier heading into the end of the week. Now, this means that we get a storm. Where is the storm? How strong is the storm? How much cold air does it have to work with? These are a lot of questions that we just don't know the answers to yet. Today is Sunday. This is Friday. So we're talking Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. 5 days away. We still have plenty of time. But we go from storm energy to what you typically see on TV with the futurecast. This is what it looks like. There's that northern storm. It starts off as one storm for us, Tuesday night into Wednesday as some rain showers. And eventually these rain showers change to snow because this is the polar jet stream. It brings down the colder air. That's why we can get some snow into Wednesday night and early Thursday. But watch this. These two storms combine, and look how this storm grows. Look how huge it is. Now I'm going to step this way. If the storm is located right along the Jersey Shore, if there's enough cold air and there's enough storm energy in that phase to create this big storm, look at this. Yeah, that's some moderate to heavy snow reaching all the way to Northeast Ohio. But this is one scenario out of multiple different scenarios. That requires a perfect phase, a lot of cold air, and a lot of storm energy. That's basically, and we were texting this in our weather chat. Trenton was talking about it, about how we kind of have to thread the needle. A lot can go wrong, but if everything is just right, think of it like Goldilocks. If everything is just right, there's a big storm and we get big snow. The chance of that happening is low in any situation. But in this particular situation, the chance is a little bit elevated. But we're still a long ways away. Like, long ways away. So what does that mean? Well, think about this. Winter forecasting 101. We're 5 days away from a potential storm. So the pattern, we know it's a cold signal. We're getting the cold for sure. It'll be 20s during the day, teens at night, even if there's no snow. The trend has been for there to be a storm. Now we're about to transition into the scenarios phase. Is it likely to see snow? Is it snow or rain? In our particular case, it's a matter of, will we see the snow reach us or does it miss to the east? We don't know the answer to that yet. We're only entering the scenarios phase. We got plenty of time to go, friends. And that's why it's important to always stick with us. And of course, the beauty of social media, I'm able to post on Facebook, News 5, and of course, our Power of 5 team, Trent and Phil and Kyle, and even Katie sometimes as well. And I hope, Katie, you're doing well. We get to do this in an instant, and we get to explain. And if you have questions at home, feel free to explain. I've seen a few comments pop on up, so I'm going to look at that in just a little bit. But that's basically where we're at for the potential of snow. Could we see a foot of snow? Sure. Could we see 2 snowflakes? Sure. Could we see something in between? Yes. It's just too soon, unlike what some of the social meteorologists have been saying online about, oh, we're going to get a foot of snow. No, hold the brakes, hold the brakes. The potential is there, sure, but we got a lot to iron out before we get to that. So there we go. All righty, let's see here. Michelle saying be careful and safe out there for sure. And then a couple of, what's it called? A couple other comments. I see a few bots out there too, so I'm just going to ignore those. But hopefully what I just explained made a little bit more sense. Hopefully that was also a little bit of a geek out moment. Hopefully you had a chance to enjoy a little bit of the science, what goes into the forecast. Hopefully you understand the nuance, how we do our forecasts and where we stand X amount of days out. So cool. Let me go back to, of course, the current situation, which of course is that snow. So let me go back to the Power of 5 radar. Michelle commenting, that's why Channel 5 is simply the best all around. Well, I appreciate that. Appreciate that comment a lot. Let me tell you this. The Power 5 team has been incredible. And honestly, the News 5 team as a whole, incredible people who work here on Euclid. Great people, great staff, like friends all around. It's great to be working for a place that also understands, lives, breathes, sleeps Northeast Ohio, and I'm glad to be a part of that. Talking about the snow, again, thunder snow too from last night. Where do we stand now? Let me go to right now. Let me loop the radar for the last half hour. All right, here we go. Let me zoom on out. And again, some pretty heavy snow right now. Southern Lake, Northern Geauga counties, through Montville and Chardon and Thompson. This is some very heavy snow that's happening right now. Some of these smaller streets as well. I mean, especially in Lake County, when we have a lot of these kind of cul-de-sacs, kind of a British term, but basically a lot of these roads for residential streets that are very curly, a lot of these streets are harder to plow, harder to treat. So if you live on either side of Route 20, east side of Menor, I know these road conditions are not great right now. That's one of the issues I know that is common here across our area. Madison right now to Harpersfield and Cork, very heavy snow. In fact, you can see that darker blue right on top of 90 in Harpersfield. I don't know if any one of our directors can hear, if they're able to change one of the ODOT cameras to somewhere in Ashtabula County on 90, that would be awesome. So I can just take a quick peek at that. Let's see here. Seeing a couple other comments, but as I see Michelle saying like Professor Allan. Well, I mean, in another world, I feel like professor would definitely be a fun job as well. But I feel like the most fun is definitely in TV and helping explain average kind of like what goes into the weather forecasting without like the super specifics. Because I can talk about rotational vorticity and I can talk about different convective processes, but like You're going to probably fall asleep at home like, what? I didn't sign up for the Science Channel. No, but I try to make it fun and understandable in a way that that also helps you out, kind of help you make plans and understand the process of how weather is done, despite some of the hype that you see elsewhere on social media. All right, so let's see. We got a couple of live shots. I heard REM 19, so bear with me one moment while I do this. All right, here is Ashtabula County, by the way, 90 at State Route 11. So this is just east of where I showed the heavy snow, and eventually we're going to see heavy snow here. Visibility down to under a mile. I'd say it's about 3/4 of a mile because you can see this part of the road here, but as this car goes by, look at it. It's fading, it's fading, it's fading. There it goes, gone. So truckers also going below the speed limit. This one looks more like 40 to 50 instead of 65, 70. That's good to see. But yeah, snow's coming down at a pretty decent clip there. Again, comment section is still open. If you see heavy snow where you are, let me know where you are, what you're seeing. If you're seeing no snow, a lot of people on the west side are probably tuning in right now and you're like, I don't see snow. I even see a couple of peaks of sunshine. That's the nature of snow, of course, in Northeast Ohio with that lake enhancement. But I want to know where you are, what you're doing snow-wise. Brandon commenting, I appreciate that, Brandon, saying doing a good job, keep up the great work. I'll just cover up the, here, hold on. Oh, I can't cover it. I was going to say, let me cover that Bills logo up. No, just kidding. No, I appreciate you, Brandon. All trying to keep you safe and informed with this snow today and for next week. I mean, literally in just the last couple of frames, it looked like a little bit of a wall of snow came through. But again, you can see these cars are almost disappearing right behind my right shoulder. So visibility is bad. And one more peek. Notice now, Eastern Cuyahoga County, 90 at 271. This looks a lot better. Visibility is about 2 miles now. You can see all the way to that hill over there behind the bridge. So already an improvement there. But again, that's the nature of lake enhanced, lake effect snow. What's it called? It just comes in waves, these batches, these squalls. So where those squalls persist, that's where you're going to get the higher totals. I'm going to take a sneak peek real quick at a couple of snow totals behind the scenes. So bear with me one moment. I'm going to try to see if we have a couple of updates I want to get to you. If the National Weather Service website would load. No, I'm not seeing any new updates, interestingly enough. But I just see a couple of new updates from 8 a.m. Let's see here. East side of Bainbridge near Auburn Corners had 3.3 inches of snow. Russell Center 2.7. Let's see here. University Heights 2.7. So that's already pretty close to downtown Cleveland. Here at the News 5 studios, we measured 1.7 inches of snow a couple of hours ago. So notice the closer you get to the lake, the less you get. North Olmsted 2 inches. Oberlin 3. Even out toward Monroeville on the west side from that earlier burst, just west of Norwalk, we got 2.5 inches reported there. That's pretty much it there. Okay, let me go back to Power 5 radar. Not seeing a lot of comments. Not sure if they're disabled or not. I know sometimes that does happen, but either way though. Let's see here. Boop, boop, boop. This is where the heavy snow is. I mean, let me illustrate here real quick. You can see that band. Literally right here. Chardon's getting in on that heavy snow right now. Ashtabula, things are getting better quick, in fact, as this continues to slide to the south and east through Trumbull and Chardon. That's where the heavy snow is now. This area right here, this is where snowfall rates could approach 1 inch per hour. Luckily, this is moving, so we're not going to get 1 inch, but we can get another 1/2 inch out of this. So, so there you go. I'm going to clear this out real quick. I'm curious. I'm going to try to pull up a Chardon camera here if I have the ability to on my end. So bear with me one moment while I try to do that. A lot of moving parts, one-man band here when it comes to this stuff. So hold on, bear with me here. I try to load this up. Let's see if technology cooperates with me today. Let's see here. Yes. Okay. All right. Bear with me. Give me 1 second, guys. Again, make sure you're commenting where you are and how much snow you're seeing, or maybe you're not seeing snow at all. Let me know about that as well. Let's see here. G, boom, boom, boom. All right, it's loading up. All right, hopefully this will work. All right, bear with me while I grab the source here. Router source. Bam. All right, there we go. Chardon, downtown Chardon. Look at these big snowflakes too. Glad to see that the crews have been treating these main streets here in downtown Chardon. But again, notice a little bit where there's no treatment, it immediately starts to pick on up. So road conditions, we're going to see that rotate one more time to the left. There we go. Notice, as soon as you get basically essentially no shoulder, you can't really park. And yeah, I mean, the sidewalks, be extra careful too, because we're seeing them snow covered. Looks like a solid couple of inches of snow. Doesn't look like it's a crazy big storm, but again, it's notable because remember, what did we have on Friday? Oh yeah, that's right, 64 degrees. Mind-boggling. Welcome to Northeast Ohio in January. We went from 64, now it feels like 14. So in 48 hours, we've gone down 50 degrees with that feels like temperature across parts of Northeast Ohio. Again, looks beautiful. I mean, almost like a winter wonderland. The trees being covered, but also look at that blowing and drifting. Not only is it snowing, but when you get that gust of wind, you get some of that blowing and drifting, that lowers the visibility. So those trees over there, I mean, you can barely make them out. That's a quarter of a mile away, so I'd put it about a half a mile visibility in downtown Menor right now. Back to the ODOT cameras. Also notice they're shaking. The wind is going on pretty much everywhere across Northeast Ohio. So if you're not seeing the snow, you're most definitely seeing the wind. Gusting to 35 miles an hour right now, downtown Cleveland. Canton, 35 miles an hour. New Philly, 30. Worcester at 30. Ashland, 26 mile an hour gusts. So it's windy for sure, and that's making it feel extremely cold everywhere. I said 14 in Menor. I wasn't lying. That's a 50-degree drop in the feels like temperature in 2 days. 14 it feels like right now in Akron. Wind chill of 13 in Worcester. Ashland at 13. Very cold stuff out there. All right, let me close out this Menor camera on my end so I can see if there are any other comments. Let's see here. JD asking, what is the weather for Canton, Ohio tomorrow morning? Well, let's take a look together. All righty. Futurecast, load on up. See, this is what happens when you have too many graphics. Like you overload the system. So here we go. Futurecast this afternoon. That last bit of snow. Again, Futurecast is underdone. So where you see the blue, that's heavy snow. Imagine around that blue. So Cleveland, Menor, Ashtabula, it'll still be snowing at 3 o'clock, just not as heavy. And eventually this does continue to slide to the south and east. If I can get this to work. Let's see. Technology at its finest, am I right? There we go. Yeah, our computer's definitely slowing down with the amount of stress I put them through. But to get to tomorrow morning, I mean, even this evening, look at this, 6 o'clock, we're already drawing things out. And we're going to be dry for tomorrow morning. Let me extend this real quick with the Futurecast. Let me go to tomorrow morning. Bam. This is 5 a.m. It'll be very cold. Make sure you're bundled up with winter gear because it will feel like single digits and lower teens. But 7 a.m., mostly cloudy, 21, fine. Road conditions will be okay. Just watch out for a few icy spots, a little black ice wherever there's untreated surfaces, because some of that melted snow and slush could refreeze once the sun goes down tonight. But watch this. Speaking of sunshine, we'll see a hefty amount of melting tomorrow afternoon. Look at these 30s, upper 30s, could be even 40 degrees on the west side, Norwalk to Fremont. I think we can squeak out a 40 tomorrow, but it's mostly sunny. We'll take it. We'll gladly take that. So hopefully that answers your question, JD. Any other questions, let me know. I'm going to wrap this up shortly, but that's what we look like right now here across Northeast Ohio. As for the storm potential, make sure to rewind on this video. I'm not going to go in depth again. I kind of talked about it before, but basically what the key is, two pieces of energy combining into one storm. There is the potential for snow at the end of the week. This looks kind of menacing. This looks like I'm trying to hype things up. No, this is one scenario. And remember, today is Sunday, and we're talking about next Thursday, Friday. We're 5 days away, friends. We're going from the trend into the scenarios. Is it likely? We're fine-tuning those details in the next couple of days. So that's what it looks like for next week. Going to wrap it up real quick with our one last look at Power 5 radar. Again, what are we dealing with right now? That heavy snow continuing to push down. Speaking of which, we got an expansion, friends. Portage County. I was talking about how you've gotten quite a bit of snow and you'll get more snow. National Weather Service updating that winter weather advisory. Now Portage County is included in it, and even south of Ashtabula. So we got 2 more counties basically involved in the winter weather advisory. Of course, we don't quite reach Trumbull County with our signal, but if you're watching from Trumbull County, you are also now in that winter weather advisory. So Twinsburg is just on the other side of Portage County and Summit County, but you're just barely missing out on the heavy snow. So 480 on the west side toward 271, barely any snow. East side, Aurora, Manaway right now, oh, it's coming down. Manaway right now, down to Freedom and Garrettsville. That's some pretty heavy snow, and it'll be very heavy for the next 20 to 30 minutes as this band continues to push to the south and east. Where it's lightening up right now, downtown Cleveland, snow is much lighter than what it was a half an hour ago. That's great to see, but look to the north. More is still on the way. I'm going to loop this one more time here. Going to go back and forward. Let's see. Yeah, notice it's getting stronger on radar. So we're going to get one more final push. What I'm seeing here is a band that's trying to develop inside of this kind of burst of snow right here. This band is going to continue going south and east. So Ashtabula, you're going to get into it again in about 15, 20 minutes. It's going to pick back up as this will continue to push to the south and east. So that's what it looks like on the Power 5 radar. Let's see here. Dan asking on YouTube, what's the end of the month looking like? Once this Facebook Live is done, you're going to be able to rewind it. I talked about the potential for snow towards mid-month. This stormy pattern is likely to lock in place. This cold is not going anywhere anytime soon. We're going to likely be below normal from next Thursday all the way till the end of the month. That's my early gut feeling right now for what I think is going to happen for the rest of the month. A little bit of a bold prediction, I know, but based on everything I've been seeing in the long range. But again, we know how fickle these forecasts can be. Long-range forecasting is a lot of theory involved. We're still learning as we go along. So there can be changes, of course, but just letting you know, anticipate a very cold end to January, these next couple of weeks, once we get into Thursday, Friday of next week. So, yeah, there you go. All righty. That wraps it up here. Again, I'm going to leave you with one more look at an ODOT camera right now. What are we dealing with? We're dealing with snow. And again, there's 271, the visibility going down a little bit, back down to about a half a mile as that snow continues. Roads may look okay, but trust me, they are slick. We've seen a number of spin-outs during Good Morning Cleveland this morning, even though it was barely snowing and the road conditions were fine. So please be extra careful on the roads, friends. Any questions? I'm always open on Facebook in the comments section. I'll be looking out for those. Hopefully everyone stays safe. Everyone enjoys football later today. We got 3 big games on the slate. And of course, Monday Night Football tomorrow night on ESPN is going to be really fun as well. Great games out there. Just wish the Browns were a part of it. And maybe next year, new head coach, Shador takes a jump. I mean, I'm getting ahead of myself. All right, back to the weather, but just be extra safe and careful out there. Enjoy your Sunday. Any questions, feel free to comment. But otherwise, happy Sunday, friends. Stay safe out there.